Well, welcome again to Technology First Strategies for Increased Independence and Stronger Social Connections. I'm Stacey Wargowsky and presenting on behalf of the Technology First Coalition of Wisconsin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nathaniel Lentz, and I am an advocate, and I'm presenting on behalf of People First Wisconsin, and I'm an outreach self-advocate. Thank you very much.
All right, I thought we would do something a little fun just to get started. So there is chat at the bottom of your screen, and I do have a picture, as you can see on my screen. Your screen might look a little different, but if you click on the chat, I would like you to enter, if you're wanting to, what your favorite technology is on a frequent basis. And Nathaniel and I will share what our favorite technology is as well. So for me, it's really my smartphone, my cell phone. I utilize my cell phone all day throughout the day, from the time I wake up in the morning with my alarm, to utilizing it as a calendar, reminders, for my email, both personal, as well as for work.
Thank you.
Oh, the other way.
So for me, my cell phone is really a part of my day, and it helps me to keep myself organized as well as to connect with others.
You want to be in the center. You
Okay.
want to be.
Okay.
That's better. Sit on a pillow.
Nathaniel, would you like to share what your favorite technology is? And then feel free to also chat what your favorite technology is if you're part of our presentation today.
Yes, my favorite technology is my laptop. It is one of the essential technologies that I use every day for my work and my personal life too. As for my personal life, I do my emails. For my professional life, I have to do Zoom calls. I have to reach out to other self-advocates and advocates and different companies to outreach for People First Wisconsin.
Thanks for sharing that, Nathaniel. And then just looking in the chat, we see a few individuals using tablets, a lot of individuals using their smartphone, AirPods. I also have AirPods and like utilizing those as well. Electric toothbrush, awesome. Again, a lot of laptops and smartphones. Just seeing if I can find some different things here. Nintendo Switch, so somebody that likes to play some games, fun. Zoom, we're all pretty used to Zoom these days. MyQ. And it looks like a couple more maybe just came in. A joke, the hammer next to my computer. We all have those days also when it's not working, and we want to utilize that hammer as well. So that could probably be considered some assistive technology some days. All right, well, thanks for participating in that, and we'll get started. So Nathaniel, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. In our presentation today, our session is going to go over Technology First Coalition overview. What are the Technology First guiding principles? Exploring different types of technology and where to start. Okay.
Seems to be a little bit of a delay with my screen share.
It's okay. Take your time.
There we go.
Okay, what is a coalition? What does coalition mean? It's a group formed when two or more people agree to work on something together in a partnership to meet a common goal. Now, this common goal, what's a common goal? Does anyone have a clue what a common goal is? And you can put your answers in the chat. Right. Oops, excuse me. Okay. Thank you, Miss Lewa, if I'm pronouncing your name right. That's exactly right. It's when everyone wants to work together towards one goal. So it's the strategies. It's coming up with one particular tons of strategies that gear towards that one goal. So in our technology, we're trying to think of strategies for like assistive technology. And assistive technology to apply for people who have physical or IDD, developmental disabilities, intellectual developmental disabilities, so they can live on their own. So if it's eye screening, or if it's just like pointing a finger on a touch screen, that's what we have to do. We have to provide them with technology so they are able to live on their own. What is the Technology First Coalition? The coalition is a group of Wisconsin providers, funders, managed care organizations, IRIS consultant agencies, technology vendors, agency organizations, and self-advocates that have come together to advocate for equal opportunities to utilize technology and increase their independence for all. Purpose of the Technology First Coalition. Our purpose is making Wisconsin a technology first state where people are presented with options for use of providing technologies of their lives to maximize their independence, privacy, and improve their overall quality of life, while reducing cost and addressing the increasingly alarming shortage of direct care workers. Independence means like live on their own. Privacy means what like taking care of the banking, taking care of their health, what their privacy needs to-do list, and what they should not, people with disabilities should not have to depend on others. They should be able to take on their own and advocate for themselves. So we have to make technology so they can be able to be private and improve their overall quality of life. That would be have food and shelter, be able to go out when they want to, be able to just live life to the fullest, and be able to make decisions on their own without having caregivers. And as Technology First Coalition, that's like the common goal, is to have the independence, the privacy, and improve their overall quality of life.
So thank you, Nathaniel, for talking about the Technology First Coalition. The Technology First Coalition actually just formed this year. We started meeting in February of 2021, and we've done a lot of great work since then. And one of the things that we did early on was to develop the Technology First guiding principles. But before jumping into that, I also want to share what guiding principles means. It is a group of core values that speak to who the coalition is, what they believe, and what they desire going forward. And guiding principles form the foundation to the coalition's purpose. So Nathaniel already spoke to kind of quality of life, privacy, and independence. And we're going to watch a quick video that demonstrates what the Technology First guiding principles means to the Technology First Coalition. And then we'll see some examples of technology in individuals' lives that it's really producing that independence and autonomy that they're seeking. So I am going to switch over to a video quick. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Nathaniel, were you able to hear sound in the video?
Yeah, but it was kind of choppy.
Was it? Okay, it was good on my side, so I don't know if it's just the streaming possibly.
It's a streaming. It's the streaming of the service. It's not anything that you did or anything. So don't. It's technology.
It's the technology. Yep, definitely.
Yep. So we're sorry. We apologize if any inconsistencies that you may have on your end. So we apologize.
So that was the Technology First Guiding Principles video. We thought it would be nice to have kind of a short video that demonstrates really what our core values are as a coalition, we call our guiding principles. We also do have a document that defines them a little bit further. That is a couple pages long, but we thought that this video really demonstrates what those guiding principles are to the individual, to the funders, as well as to the system. And you saw at the end of that video as well on the right-hand side of this slide, the different organizations that came together as part of the coalition to develop those guiding principles collectively. And these are the individual organizations that also signed on and endorsed those principles once they were created. So we also have other providers that are interested in doing so. So I anticipate this list growing much larger, but it's pretty cool to see that we've formed a coalition early this year. We've developed guiding principles, and we have the support of these organizations to move technology forward for the state of Wisconsin. I'm going to show one more video, and this video is really an individual and her testimonial to how she utilizes technology. And if you think back to the guiding principles, which were independence and inclusion, person-centered, informed choice and dignity of risk, access and equity, safety and privacy, I think you'll see from what she shares with us how the guiding principles are really a part of her life and how she is being supported by technology. And I'm really hoping that this video works.
My name is Rhonda Stotts. I've been totally blind since birth. When you're a blind person, you develop alternate ways of doing things. Your eyes aren't your brains. And so, you know, with the advent of smartphones, that has, you know, leveled the playing field significantly. You know, technology is there to be used, you know, and that's the beautiful thing about this. You're not relying on a special system necessarily. You're using the same operating system everybody else is using, things that are built into your phone. So that does make your life a whole lot easier. Just keeping a calendar makes your life easier. Just being able to not have to remember all those phone numbers, because in the days before our contact list, we remembered phone numbers. I still do tend to remember phone numbers. There are several apps that blind people have. One of the apps we use most is Seeing AI. And then AI is an artificial intelligence, and it has several modes. Siri, open Seeing AI. Document, if you got to read a document, it will do that. A product code, QR code, so to identify a box of rice brownie or can of something. A person. Currency, of course. A scene preview, so it can tell you what something looks like. You can take a shot and it'll say, you know, you're on a corner of whatever street. Siri, open Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes app. And apps like that can be invaluable if you need a little bit of sighted assistance and you don't have anybody around and you don't have anybody to call. You call these guys because that's what they do. There are lots and lots of parts of disability that are going to be outside your comfort zone because, you know, let's face it, percentage play is to simply stay in your own home and controlled environment, and then you'll never make mistakes, you'll never get lost, you'll never do whatever, but it's not a life. So you have to take that extra step, developing a new toolkit to do the things that you wanted to do, the things that made you who you are. You can't give that up. This really doesn't have to stop you from being the person you always were.
So I always love watching Rhonda's video. I think it's a good demonstration of really our guiding principles and how she's using Seeing AI to be very independent and inclusive in her community. And you can tell that it was a very person-centered approach. It was really about her and how she wanted to gain access to the community and just be a normal person within the community. And then she also definitely was probably very involved in determining which technology was going to work best for her. So having all the information that she needed to make a good informed choice for herself. And then she also talked a little bit too about risk. Like we each have risk in our lives, and having the opportunity to try things that may be different. Technology may be new to many of you, and sometimes it's identifying what our goals are in life and identifying if technology may be able to assist in meeting those goals. And then access and equity, that's definitely one of the guiding principles as a coalition that we really need to focus a lot on, having equal access for everybody within the state of Wisconsin and beyond to technology, so they can have the same independence that every one of us is able to. And then when you're exploring safety or other things in life, just making sure our technology in life, one thing that you want to be sure of is that you know what the risks are, you know how to protect yourself. So safety and privacy are extremely important. And part of that exploration process is just understanding what the technology can do for you, what information that technology may be collecting, just so that you're informed and can make the best decision for you. So we're going to do a little bit of a question and answer. And we're going to utilize the chat again. So at the bottom of your screen, if you would like to be a part of this exercise, we thought it would be fun just to kind of share what we feel independence and inclusion means to each of us. So individually, if you can share what independence and inclusion means to you, and it can be in respect to technology, or it can be just really anything that you feel is independence and inclusion. And I will watch the chats here.
All right. So I will give you an example of independence and inclusion as of technology. Now, with my outreach self-advocate, I'm independent and included with People First Wisconsin. So I'm able to have my own setup. I'm able to be involved with Zoom meetings, with my monitor, with my computer. I'm able to join in self-meetup groups. I'm able to be involved in advocacy projects. My career is going fast forwarding. So I'm able to do what I want to do as an outreach self-advocate. And I think that's the key in technology. If people had technology, they're able to get their education credentials, their employment goals, short-term and long-term, and they're able to be included and show independence. I'm like, I can do this, I can do that. And I think that's the key, is that they can try different jobs over the pandemic and with the technology. And that's what I've been focused on over this pandemic.
Thanks, Nathaniel. We have a lot of good chats too coming in. The ability to choose how I want to communicate, being able to do all the things I can do on my own, able to live independently, freedom and belonging, being involved with Zoom meetings for an organization, being able to do things for yourself and not rely on others. And inclusion is being able to do anything that other people are able to do. Thanks for sharing those. How about we maybe take some time to talk a little bit about informed choice and dignity of risk. So Nathaniel, if you want to maybe share what that means to you, and then feel free to also chat what that means to each of you individually as well.
Informed choice means I'm able to make choices on what I want to work on, as if, do I want to work on this project for People First Wisconsin? Do I want to work on this project for the technology correlation? Or do I want to work on projects for the ARC as a National Self-Advocate Officer? So what infos, and then the dignity of risk comes with that, is how much time I'm putting in. Am I using time management? Am I overworking myself? No, it's just that I'm trying to use this pandemic as an opportunity to learn. I'm not trying to, if I'm going to be stuck at home, I want to make sure that I'm using this time to get as much education as I need to, get as much technology information that I need to, but also learn from others, learn from other advocates, learn from other self-advocates, learn just like taking a class. So take notes, listen to my audio meetings, and take risk of learning how to ask questions during the meeting, and take notes during the meeting, and making sure that I'm not going to learn how to be a leader and be able to take risks to be a leader and make informed choices, so that I am able to learn from my choices, if they're negative ones or if they're positive ones.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Nathaniel. I think to me, it's just making sure that you're well educated and you know all of what's available regarding technology, just knowing what that technology can do for you, but also, there might be risks with the technology. Some apps, for example, might collect some data, and being aware of what data is collecting, how it's being used. So really being well educated, like you were saying, and then also being able to accept some risk as well. We all learn from making mistakes, and those are sometimes our best opportunities. So really, when it comes to technology, it's making sure that you're involved in the decision-making process, and it's your goals that you're working towards and achieving. That's really the person-centered approach, that you're the center of that decision-making process, and you're also being educated and able to make the choices that you choose to make. And then that access and equity, again, is just making sure that you have all the available options that anyone else does, and equal opportunities to try different things. And like I said before, safety and privacy kind of goes along with that informed choice, as well as the dignity of risk, making sure that you understand what the safety is related to technology and how that safety can be utilized, or technology can be utilized, and also that you're protecting yourself as well. So now we're going to jump right into more of the technology. This slide kind of shows examples of really two very different types of technology, because technology can really range from some very simple and more affordable technology to more complicated and expensive technologies. So on the bottom left-hand corner, this is fairly simple technology. It's a pencil, and for an individual that may have some difficulty maybe handling that pencil to write or draw, this is just a simple grippy that can be purchased to put on the pencil and have a better capability of controlling that pencil. Very simple, generally pretty affordable. And there's a lot of technologies that's like this, very simple and can be used in day-to-day life. And then in the top left-hand screen, which is a little bit difficult to see, but you see some technology that's probably a little bit more complicated and also probably a little bit more expensive as well. Up on the top left, you see the patient or an individual that is utilizing like a blood pressure monitor, a glucometer, potentially a scale, and they may utilize that to monitor their own health conditions, maybe on a daily basis. That information can be collected and through Wi-Fi can be sent through their computer, their tablet, or their iPhone or smartphone, and it goes through the internet to their care provider. So in this example, it's more about their health and a medical provider, but it can also be used in just being in your own home and reaching out to a remote support provider that we'll talk a little bit more about later. But this is just an example of how there's very simple technology, your pencil and the grippy on the bottom left, to definitely some more complicated and potentially more expensive technology. When you see the more complicated technology, that generally is requiring electrical power and sometimes battery and sometimes both. It's really important for technologies to be plugged in, but also to have that backup battery just in case there's a storm or an outage, so that you're ensuring that your technology is working regardless of the scenario. So backup planning is also really important when it comes to technology, especially with your more complicated technologies. So this is just really, again, an example of kind of the spectrum of technology that very simple to a little bit more complex. And when looking for technology, it's really important to find the best match for you and the individual outcomes that you're hoping to achieve. So we are going to look at a few more examples of technology. This is, again, some more simple and generally more affordable technology. Some of you may be familiar with picture books on the left-hand corner. This is typically for individuals that have some difficulty with communication, and it's really individualized for them. So this individual looks like it's food. So maybe they're trying to work with a family or a friend or a caregiver on what they're interested in eating for the day, so they can easily point out what they're hungry for and communicate that directly to the individuals that are supporting them. So a very simple technology, very individualized for that person. They're kind of choosing what they're wanting to communicate with those around them, and they develop that picture book based on their individual needs. And that second visual is a hearing aid. Hearing aids have been around for many, many years. Some hearing aids can be quite simple and some are quite sophisticated these days. So this is just an example, another technology that can kind of have a broad range of going from more simple technology to more your complicated technology, and it is used in everyday life for many people. Many of us probably have magnifying glasses or magnifiers laying around our house, and some of us maybe use that rarely, maybe once a year, once every couple of years when you're trying to find something very small. But for some individuals, that might be something that they hang on in their purse or on their person to really use in day-to-day life to magnify things in a store or in the community if they're having some need for visual aids. So again, a very simple technology that can be used in daily life for some individuals. And then similar to the picture book, on the right-hand side, you'll see a keyboard with some pictures on it and some words on it. For some individuals, just looking at the keyboard with the letters that we have might be difficult, but adding some visuals to that keyboard, for instance, the Z has the magnifying glass for zooming. That can help an individual that maybe is having some difficulty with the letters alone to visualize what the actual item is and the letter, and that may help them to communicate with others too via keyboard and communication. So just a few examples of simple and generally affordable technology. There's different terms for this type of technology. Sometimes it's called low tech, but for the purposes of today, it's just kind of trying to outline what that simple tech is versus the more complicated technology that's out there. And technology changes every day. So we'll never be able to share all the technology that's out there. This slide is an example of some more complicated and generally more expensive technology. So the individual on the left-hand side, likely was born maybe without an arm or had an amputation of his arm, and he's utilizing almost like a robotic arm, it looks like. And so definitely complicated. He was probably working with physicians, with occupational physical therapists over time to really understand how that that arm could operate for him likely took a lot of training and a lot of use to become familiar with that. So if you think back to the simple technology, probably didn't take a lot of training, but something like this could take months and months of learning how to use it and how to use it well. So again, making sure that you have the training and the support that you need, and you're getting that support throughout the process, depending on the technology and how it's going to work for you. Many of you have probably seen in the magazines that come out around the holidays and in the stores, the robotic vacuum cleaners and other cleaning appliances. Pretty common over the last 5 or so years. This is a robotic vacuum cleaner. They actually can range from probably a couple $100s and up now. So it can be a little bit more expensive. And they're not super complicated, but there is some programming that you need to do, understanding the parameters of your room that you want vacuum cleaned, maybe the time of day or week that you want the vacuum cleaner to go off. Nathaniel was joking with me yesterday that he has a dog. And so if he was using this type of technology, he would definitely want to make sure his dog's probably not in the home, or his dog would be chasing that vacuum cleaner all over the place. So a little bit more of a complicated technology, but a technology that can be very helpful in day-to-day life for many individuals. And then on the right-hand side, this is smart home technology, or sometimes what individuals call environmental technology. So for many of us, we're using remote controls to turn our TV on and off, but you can also use smart home technology and speak through a device such as like an Echo Dot to control things within your home environment. So this is a very small visual, but through voice or remote control or other controls, an individual may be able to turn their TV on and off, to control their lights, to dim them, to brighten them, to turn them on and off. And in this scenario, you can also see that the HVAC control is back there. A person could be able to control turning up their heat, as well as many other environmental controls that are available and out there. We have a video that I'd like to share. It's Todd Stablefelt and his story and how he utilizes technology, just to give you an example of technology in the home and how smart home technology can really increase individuals' independence.
My name is.
That is not the right video. Here we go.
Right? Yep. There we go.
In a city of bays and boats, it's not easy to be a man on wheels.
There it is.
But to say Todd Stablefelt has adapted would be an understatement.
Being a husband, and, a dad, you want to be able to provide and do what you can. Even though that in certain areas, physically speaking, you can't really move much.
Todd and Karen have been married for 4 years.
I never thought I'd have the opportunity to be in love, to be married, to have children, have dogs. So you left.
Todd's been a quadriplegic since his cousin accidentally shot him when he was 8 years old.
I went through my job and it's central software at the 4th grade. So I'm a C4 complete quadriplegic. For all of it. This is brutal. I live in a life, for the most part, that is completely dependent. So anywhere that I can get independence, I'm going to go get.
And that's where assistive technology like Apple's HomeKit comes in.
Hey Siri, arriving home. I use voice recognition, on my iPhone pretty much every day, all day. And now I would go and open the garage door for Karen.
HomeKit is a home automator that connects smart accessories like door locks, window shades, and lights.
Hey Siri, arriving home. In our house, definitely the technology is everywhere.
Combined with Siri and what Apple calls switch control, Todd can navigate his iPhone and control his smart home using external switches and voice commands.
Hey Siri, lock the front door. Between Siri and switch control, I can use my phone just as good as anybody with 10, working fingers and hands. You know how I do.
At Apple, we see accessibility as a basic human right. For some people, doing something like turning on your lights or opening a blind thermostat might be seen as a convenience, but for others, that represents empowerment and independence and dignity.
Todd runs his IT consulting firm from home,
I just sent you the report log for the day.
sending more than 100 voice-powered text messages every day. But what's more, he's a husband who can care for his wife.
Technology has completely changed how Todd can operate and where he can function.
Kitchen ceiling light on.
So when I'm cooking, I don't have to stop and do those functions. He can facilitate and do those. Makes my heart swell. There's just a certain sweetness that comes with being cared for.
She's all of it, man. And I want to make sure I produce and I demonstrate that she's worth everything and anything that she wants. To get up every day and go to work. Everybody's valuable. Everybody has worth. Everybody should have the opportunity to demonstrate it. And HomeKit and Switch Control and Siri have given me a lot of value and a lot of opportunities to demonstrate a quality man and I'm a man of integrity.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel.
So I always like watching Todd's video and how he uses the smart home technology through his Apple device and the switch control. It's pretty cool use of technology and really demonstrate how really independent you can be with the use of technology given your individual circumstances. So that's just one example of how smart home technology can also be utilized. Next, I want to talk a little bit about remote supports, just to try and give you kind of an idea of all the different technology that's out there. Again, kind of going back a few slides to that simple technology to some more complicated technology. So this is about remote support. So you see the individual in the top right-hand corner sitting at a desk. That's often what we call a trained remote support professional. And they're able to deliver live support to an individual at a remote location. So in this picture, the individual in the top right that says, "How can I help you?" He is at a remote location, but able to provide support to the individual that's sitting at the table in his home with the little speaker system with the help in front of him. And this is just a visual to kind of demonstrate what remote supports can look like. But it's really a technology-based service that allows for that trained remote support professional to deliver live support to an individual within their home or other locations. Professionals are generally awake, alert, and dedicated to focusing on providing remote supports during an agreed upon time. So for some individuals, it might be just during the overnight hours. For some, it might be 24/7. But remote supports are not all intended to substitute for in-home support. So in this situation, this individual may need some support during the day, but he also can utilize the remote supports for times when he does not need a person within his home. So it can be very helpful for individuals that don't need that 24/7, but just really want some independence as well as the support when they need it. And we also have a video that Connie shares. She utilizes night owl support systems for remote support, but you'll also see some other technology within her home. She has a medication dispensing unit, and she also has providers that come in during the day when she needs support. So she's kind of got a little mix of various types of technology. Make sure I get the right one up here.
My name is Connie Schultz. I like to joke around with people, get them laughing. Then they understand and feel close to me. I lived at home with my parents, and they never would come to my rescue. I do enjoy my own apartment. I like to use the night owl system. You press a button and there's speaker systems all over my house, in every room. And I just say, can somebody help me? And pretty soon, someone comes to the door and let themselves in and say, I'm here, Connie. What do you need? It makes me feel very secure. I could never get that with the family that I had taking care of me before. I like it a lot better. I totally, the technology that is given to me is needed to live on your own.
So again, in Connie's story, you saw the remote supports, or she talked about the remote supports and how she's able to reach out and through the speaker system, talk to those trained professionals that are at distance. But then she also has some community supported living providers that between the remote support providers and her local community support providers, they're able to connect and get that in-person support when she needs it as well. So I'm kind of utilizing a few different supports to best meet her needs in the community. So we already walked through kind of a few different technologies, but like I said earlier, there's tons of different technology options that are out there, from your simple technology to your more complicated technology that needs a little bit more training, may need that internet connection or that battery power, but there's just a wealth of technology options that are out there to meet individuals' needs. So this slide is really about where to get started. And it really begins with just a conversation, really talking about what your strengths are, your interests, your goals that you're hoping to achieve, and starting that conversation. It could be with family, it could be with current providers that you're working with. If you are working with a managed care organization, IRS consultant agency, or the Children's Long-Term Support Coordinator system, reaching out to them and just starting that conversation and exploring your options. Once you've kind of identified what your strengths, your interests, skills, or goals may be, it's about really taking that conversation a step further and developing a plan to explore the different types of technology that might meet your individual needs. And like I said before, in Connie's story and some of the other stories, it's not that technology replaces the individual or personal support. That may still be needed, but technology can, however, allow the independence and autonomy that you might be hoping to achieve in your life. So really starting to develop that plan, exploring what's out there, and start developing those individual goals that you have for yourself. And then in those conversations, working with your case manager, if you have one, or others, exploring some funding options. The managed care organizations, IRS consultant agencies, and the Children's Long-Term Support System do have funding options available for technology, but there's also other technology funding options that are available out there. There's some TEP grants, there's different voucher programs. And so really exploring with other individuals around you what may be able to assist you in funding the technology that best meets your needs. And also ensuring that you have the support that you need with the training and installation once you've identified what that technology is. Some of that simple technology that we looked at, such as the gripper, maybe doesn't need a lot of training, and obviously doesn't need installation other than getting that grippy on that pencil. But for some technology, it's going to need a lot more technology training and as well as support and installation. And then just once you have that technology installed, that's not where it ends. It's really continuing to evaluate how that technology is working in your life. And sometimes that technology can increase our independence to a point where maybe we need more technology or a different technology or maybe less technology. So really making sure that once you're utilizing that, kind of revisiting what your goals were, if that technology is continuing to support and if it is the solution that you were hoping for. And if you're coming up against any roadblocks in really identifying what your plan might be or exploring funding options, there is WISTech in the state of Wisconsin that does have a device loaner program. They also work in collaboration with independent living centers that can do assessments and evaluations and assist with technology as well. And that gets me into our final slide. And we have about probably 7 minutes or so left. But I wanted to share that during the breaks today and tomorrow, during the Exhibitor Corner time, so today from 2:30 to 3:15 and tomorrow from 10 to 10:45, WISTech and Independence First will be offering some technology demonstrations. So today in the presentation, Nathaniel and I just gave you kind of a glimpse of some of the technologies that are out there. But Laura and Cindy have a lot more technology that they're available to show you in those break times. So feel free to join those exhibitor corners throughout the rest of the conference and take a little bit more of a peek into what's out there. We do have a little bit of time for questions. So if there's any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. And then Laura, I believe you're on, and I'm not sure if Cindy is, but you should both have access to unmute yourself too, if you want to share a little bit more about the Exhibitor Corner. And if you have any technology that you'd like to demo in the last few minutes of our time, feel free to do that as well.
Hi there. I can't see my screen to see if we're on here or not since you're sharing. But thanks, Stacey. Laura and Cindy are both here. And so we are down at Independence First and ready, willing, and able during the exhibit times to show kind of what all is involved with the WISTech Assistive Technology Program. So just in brief, WISTech is the Federal Assistive Technology Act program for Wisconsin. And we operate in conjunction with each of the 8 independent living centers and have a loan and demonstration library so people can try things out, see what works, see what doesn't. And then Cindy's got stuff set up. So during those exhibit times, we're available to kind of pick and choose and respond to whatever folks want to see. During the first session, we kind of reviewed some communication tools, technology. We reviewed fidget devices, as well as some smart home technology and switch access.
And glasses.
And some glasses, some really cool glasses that if you get distracted, I think if I were in a cubicle, I would need to wear them. So, but we are here to answer questions if anyone has any related to the technology availability in our state, as well as, you had mentioned some of the funding sources. We're quite familiar with the TEP, the TAP, I Can Connect, things like that. So thanks for the little bit of time and the shout out. Appreciate it. Nice job with your presentation to the two of you.
Job.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have about 4 minutes left. So if there are any questions for Nathaniel or myself or Laura and Cindy, feel free to chat those. We got a question from Hunter. Do you know where I can find hospital bed technology and funding sources for them? Cindy, I'm wondering if you maybe want to answer this question.
Well, finding hospital beds on the reuse market is next to impossible because of storage issues. So you generally have to go through a durable medical equipment dealer. And the process of getting it funded always starts with your doctor. So you need to speak with your doctor, get a prescription, take it to a local medical equipment dealer, and get the funding process started that way. If you live in certain areas around the state and you're on Medicare, you have only certain vendors you can go to, and that you can contact your independent living center for if you're not sure who they are. And we can do the research and find out who the vendors are that you can go to. Medicaid will allow you to go pretty much anywhere that sells a bed, as far as I know. And then the waiver programs, depending on which one you're with, they may or may not have contracts with specific vendors. So if you're going to be using waiver funding, make sure you check with your worker. to see what their limitations may be.
And the good news project out of the Wausau area is a potential for reuse. I don't know what, they actually have a warehouse, and inventory will, flux depending on what is available. But that might be one resource for a used hospital bed.
Yeah, a lot of us who run reuse programs, and I have a very small reuse program, we simply don't have the room. So what WISTech can offer in that instance is what's called exchange, where if we find somebody who's willing to give away a bed, then we can find somebody who needs one. And then the two individuals can make the arrangement themselves about how the equipment is exchanged. But that's another option. You can look on AT for All and see if anybody's listed any that are available. There are options for reuse equipment, even if there's not a place that you can go to.
Yep. And it sounds like Hunter's familiar with good news, so that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Hope you're close enough.
Any other questions in the last couple minutes that we have? Really appreciate everyone's time. It was a lot of information to cram into 1 hour, trying to really share, what the Technology First Coalition Wisconsin is doing, that it just really got up and running this year, and we're making a lot of good progress, but also wanted to make sure that we were able to share the different types of technology that are out there. And there's so much to continue to explore, and just identify your own individual needs and get out there and explore. But again, thank you for the time, and I hope you have a chance to visit Laura and Cindy during the Exhibitor Corner to see a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you.